So welcome back, baby, to the post side of town.
As I mentioned earlier, WJNO Radio was a much older radio station, even then, with a very large transcription library. That is, recordings of news reports from all over the world since 1936. I was mesmerized by somebody that had a larger record collection than I. But then, how to use them? How to incorporate them into a show? Let me think for a moment. I got it. A 90-minute radio special on the WJNO Anniversary Special, of course. How could management possibly say no to that? This is where I learned how to splice tape. You don't need a ton of equipment, just a good splicing block.
The sound of time, time passing, the common denominator for everything. In radio, time is the magic word. There are seconds, minutes, hours, even days. But all these measurements of time are too shallow for us to deal with this evening. For one's friendship and love for another is not measured in seconds, minutes, hours, no, not even in days, but rather that all-important and revealing measurement of time, years. Tonight, we at WJNO take pride in looking back and reminiscing on the past 30 years. 30 years of continuous service to you, our lifelong friends of the Palm Beaches. The year's 1936. Dorothy Fields and Jerome Kern had two good songs in the film Swing Time called The Way You Look Tonight and A Fine Romance.
A fine romance, my good woman, my strong, aged in the wood. Woman, this is a fine romance. Oh boy, what a romance.
And 1936 saw the revised Rudy Valley edition of Yale's famous Whiff and Poof song.
Oh, the tables down at Maury's, to the place where Louis dwells, to the dear old Temple Bar we love so well.
1936 saw 85% of the United States film theaters operating under a double feature policy. Managements were resorting to giveaway gimmicks to attract customers. In the United States, in 1936, the outstanding films included MGM star-studded Romeo and Juliet, San Francisco, Dodsworth, The Green Pastures, The Voice of Bugle Land, and Garble's version of Camille. Robert Taylor and Carole Lombard, Gary Grant, Alice Faye, and Errol Flynn were among the younger stars with box office attraction. But to us here at WJNO, 1936 has a special meaning, for 1936 was the beginning of WJNO Radio.
Hello, test 1, 2, 3, 4. WJNO, testing 1, 2, 3, 4. WJNO, testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. WJNO, all clear, testing.
Although the first broadcasts from WJNO were purely experimental tests, they were not without their moments of humor, as illustrated here, when an engineer testing out microphone circuits inadvertently threw the switch on the new console the wrong way.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woof, 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 woof. Eyes a muggin', poop, daddy, yada. 1, 2, 3. Goes on tonight, 5:15.
Nonetheless, through trials and tribulations, WJNO was officially on the air.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Penthouse Party. Dancing under the stars on Mike's roof terrace to the music of Charlie Van's orchestra. This is the first in a nightly series of broadcasts to be heard from Mike's nightclub, Dixie at Flamingo, West Palm Beach's smartest, gayest rendezvous, where the sophisticated dance arrangements of Charlie Van's music tinkle in time and tune with perfectly prepared mixed drinks and cocktails. Tonight, from under the light of a full moon, we invite you to join us nightly at Mike's Penthouse Parties and join in the gay activities that are always the rule here on West Palm Beach's only roof terrace. dance now as Charlie Van and the orchestra open the Penthouse party with a typical Van medley.
That first year saw WJNO learning many things about this new field called radio broadcasting. But by 1937, WJNO was already 1 year old, and Edgar Bergen was proving that a wooden dummy could develop a personality that would make many a live actor very envious.
I'm explaining sound waves to you. You are? Now, when you throw a stone in a pool, what do you see going in all directions? Frogs? No.
In 1937, the great Joe Louis won the heavyweight championship of the world from James Broderick.
The winner as heavyweight champion of the world, Joe Louis.
Yes, 1937. In the music department, Loch Lomond was the number one song.
Oh, you take the high road and I'll take the low road, but I'll be in Scotland for you. For me and my true love may never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Loch Lomond.
And followed very closely by Bing Crosby's Sweet Leilani.
Sweet Leilani, heavenly flower, tropic skies are jealous as they shine.
My sweet Leilani,
I think they're jealous of your blue eyes.
From Flicksville, 1937 saw 70% of the world's movie fare emanate from Hollywood. Better pictures were being made, stage successes, best-selling novels, and literary classics were being brought to the screen by the so-called geniuses of the film capital. A Family Affair was a little film released by MGM. It turned out to be the first of the famous Andy Hardy series, which starred Mickey Rooney in the title role. Also this year would see Jean Harlow die prematurely at the height of her career. Walt Disney created one of the all-time great films, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It had grossed over $8 million before the 1958 re-release. Meanwhile, on the Western Front, Germany was now arming at a hectic tempo. Churchill, though not in office at this time, had exceptional facilities for collecting secret information about what was being done. He tried desperately to get the British government to face up to the facts, the ugly facts. But Baldwin, always sluggish except at rare moments, was now old and tired as well. Neville Chamberlain, who succeeded him as Prime Minister in 1937, was little younger and much less inspiring. His experience was in finance and home affairs, and he knew nothing of foreign policy. By 1938, the actual publication date of a popular song had faded in comparative insignificance. Radio's hit parade succeeded in creating a new popularity for material of almost any age, while a single phonograph record or featured position on the screen could bring to life a number that might otherwise have been considered permanently buried, regardless of its merits. Thus, Irving Berlin's Alexander's Ragtime Band came back strongly as a result of a film by the same name, supposedly based on the composer's life.
Please let me explain. Buy me a Mr. Shane, so kiss me and say that you will understand.
On the musical stage, Harold Rome wrote some songs for Sing Out the News, including Franklin D. Roosevelt Jones.
I hear tell there's a stranger in the Jones household. Yes, sirree, that's what I've been told. How can he be a dud or a stick in the mud when he's Franklin D. Roosevelt Jones? Yes, sirree, yes, sirree, yes, sirree.
And Franklin D. Roosevelt was very much a household name, due in most part to those famous fireside chats.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to present Franklin D. Roosevelt, the President of the United States.
You, my friends, in every walk of life, and in every part of the nation who are active believers in Social Security. The Social Security Act is 3 years old today. This is a good vantage point from which to take a long look backward to its beginnings, to cast an appraising eye over what it has accomplished so far, and to survey its possibilities of future growth.
1939 ushered in two of the great movie films of all times, Gone with the Wind and The Wizard of Oz.
What Miss Gulch did to the polo. Dorothy, please, we're trying to count. Oh, but Aunt Em, she hit him.
Don't bother us now, honey. This old incubator's gone bad, and we're like to lose a lot of our chicks.
Oh, the poor little things. Oh, but Aunt Em, Miss Gulch hit Toto right over the back with a rake just because she says he gets in her garden and chases her nasty old cat every day.
70. Dorothy, please.
Oh, but he doesn't do it every day. Just once or twice a week.
Musically speaking, 1939 saw one of Ziggy Oman's hot licks turned into a clever song.
We meet and the angels sing.
These tunes were also popular in 1939.
Roll out the barrel, we'll have a barrel of fun. Roll out the barrel, we've got the blues on the run.
I'll never smile again until I smile at you.
Let's build a stairway to the stars and climb that stairway to the stars with love beside us to fill the night with a song.
On the 15th of March, 1939, Hitler sent his troops into Czechoslovakia. There was no resistance. The Czechs had already lost their fortified frontier. Though Britain and France had guaranteed their new boundaries, not a finger was lifted to save them. Behind the German armored columns came the Gestapo, the SS men, and the Jew-baiters. As those columns clanked down the streets of Prague, there were hopeless men who jumped from top-floor windows rather than suffer what was in store for them. Numbers escaped and lived to fight another day, some as pilots from British airfields. Germany did not take over the easterly half of the country. She allowed a neighbor Hungary to occupy a long strip and Poland to take one small area, while the Slavic region became a separate puppet state. But all were equally at Hitler's mercy.
Ich habe das Chaos in Deutschland überwunden, die Ordnung wiederhergestellt, die Produktionen auf allen Gebieten unserer nationalen Wirtschaft ungeheuer gehoben, durch äußerste Anstrengungen.
I have taken care in Germany that industrial unemployment has ceased, that economic order has been recreated, and that in general conditions have been tremendously and unbelievably improved.
Die das Höchste leisteten, was von einem Einzelnen Billigung gerechterweise überhaupt verlangt werden kann.
Hitler now has gone on to say that all of this he has accomplished without resort to war, that he, as a poor soldier and laborer coming from Austria, has come to power in Germany and has accomplished so much in so short a time.
Haben es dem gegenüber unendlich leichter der ganzen menschlichen Gemeinschaft.